Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Psycho for TYCo. This is actually part 2 of the ACF covered hopper. I realized when I started doing all my editing that it was going to be more than one part because I do a lot of things. I'm still working on video editing, so bear with me. I'll try and make this one shorter, but obviously this next section is going to be dealing with the roof walk. And then of course I've got a question for you viewers because I'm going to show the finished product, but not the finished product of what I'm working on, but one I've already done. However, here comes the big poll question. There is a poll question on my channel. Do you think I should try and have it as original colors for Old Dutch Cleanser, or should I do it something like this AEX centerflow hopper? You decide, because I haven't done the decals yet, but I'll probably do that in like one of my posts afterwards. Alright, for this next part, like I said, since I'm doing the round hatches instead of the oblong hatches, I'm going to file these off. First, I'm going to take a big old chunk of them out with good old handy dandy Dremel. Let's get started on that. Now, it's important to remember too, when you're doing this, don't take deep cuts. Just gentle cuts or gentle drags across your with your Dremel, with your sanding wheel. And if you don't want to do that, and if I could find it, just use a file to bring it down, or if you're really brave, you can try an X-Acto knife and start carving. I'm not that brave. Now I'm just going to use a file to bring down the detail, and then I'll finish it off with some sandpaper. Now, don't worry about the weld lines. We're gonna do that in a minute. But as of right now, we just want to get this nice and smooth. And you can tell you're getting nice and smooth when the details obviously start coming off, and you start to see the file in there. So that's what we're going to do. That looks good enough. Now, we didn't make a boo-boo, but I'm not worried about the boo-boo because I got 8 of these coming, so I should be good in that department. A little more filing down, and a little sanding smooth, and we should be ready for that. Like I said, you can tell you're down far enough when the paint starts blending in, if that makes sense. So this is pretty much ready for the hatches. Okay, so we've gone ahead, we sanded this down using these sanding sticks that I got from Micromark. They come in a variety of grit. I've got 800 here. Actually, I've got even less. I've got 400, 600, 800, and it goes all the way up to, if I can grab it, 7,000. So I've gone ahead, I've smoothed it down. I have received my Athearn hatches, and as you can see here, the Athearn hatches are going to be a what I call dead nuts on match for the TYCo hatches. But first we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark first we're going to make sure this doesn't move. First we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the welding marks here. And what I've got is I've got some polystyrene that I had picked up from Hobby Lobby because Reno does not have any good hobby shops. We've had an interesting little March snowstorm here, so I'm not about to go down the hill into California. I'm not about to go down the hill in California anyway. It's a waste of gas. So my apologies to you Californians. But this should be thin enough for what I'm about to do for the weld marks. I've got a heating source, which is going to be good old-fashioned sterno. And what we're going to do is we're going to stretch this. And this is a technique that if you're in like to model planes or something like that, it's great for making antennas. You can also use sprue. And then we're going to need our plastic welder. Now this bottle isn't actually the plastic welder. I'm pretty sure you can use it. But what I got here is methyl ethyl ketone, which I buy off Amazon. And it's basically, it's a paint thinner that's really volatile, so it's great for melting plastic. It's also great for me cleaning my airbrush. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stretch these out, and then I'll show you what we do afterwards. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Looks like I've got heat. Yep, I'm here. Oh. Gotta be very slow, very careful. Okay. That's good enough. Just put that to the side. And yep, that's going to be thin enough for our weld right there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the one weld here. And then we'll do the one weld here. We're going to start with this weld. And as you see, I have to be very slow and very careful with this because if I'm not slow and careful, obviously that's what happens. Alright, so first we're going to tack this on. Now we're going to melt this more. Let me get this out of here before I start something stupid. Because we want to bend it and we want to soften it at the same time. Once we got this softened, we're going to do this a little bit at a time. We're going to use our X-Acto knife, and we're just going to do some pressing on the edges. And I don't know if you can see this. I'm doing some pressing on the edges so that we can make those weld marks. Let's see here. We're going to do this a little bit at a time. And this is all by guesstimation. So, unless you want to keep the kit, again, this is why we use TYCo stuff for these experiments, because if you mess it up, you can either get another part or another donor car or anything like that. But this is where your hobby skills come in. And this is super awesome, I think, because if you come out with something, you're really on top of it. And by the way, this is the first time I've done a weld mark on it this way. I've only done them in theory. So that's what I got. Now, just how you know how I'm figuring out the links, especially since I made the mistake on this side, I just took a piece of this and I'm cutting down to measure. Now, I got lucky here because if you remember, I made a little mistake on this one. Well, I just got enough shadow here to figure out where it went. So if this piece was still here, we'd actually be more or less done. And as you can see, the weld marks are blending in pretty well. I might fix up this side a little bit because it's a little high, but then again, nothing in the prototype world is perfect. So don't expect to be absolutely perfect here. All right. And at this point, we're pretty much done. Now comes the biggest question. Do we want to paint this in the original color, or at least try to match it? Because we really haven't done anything with this except change this. Or do we want to do something like the AEX center flow that I showed you in the beginning of the video? Regardless, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to show you the finished product that I did with an earlier one. Okay, so this is a finished hopper for my modern Tonopah Tidewater. This one's got the trough hatches, or however you pronounce them. This is upgraded for modern time. And we're just going to go ahead, and if I've got one, which I do, that's an Athearn. Virtually identical, except this one's maybe a tad longer. I don't know if I got another. Let's see, that's another Athearn. Yeah, so this one's just a tad longer. Which, you know what, I've never noticed until I filmed here. So, yeah, this is the Athearn. This is the TYCo. And when you're running it on your pike, oh, I gotta tighten those up a little bit. When you're running it on your pike, really there's not much of a difference. Now, by the way, this is all modern. I gotta remember who does the decals, but K4 does the Tonopah Tidewater decals that I use, and then just some ACF covered hopper decals. But once this is rolling around on the layout, or at the club, no one really notices. They're like, "Oh, I see you modified an Athearn car." I'm like, "No, nah, this is a TYCo car." And they're like, "What?" So there we go, folks. I'm going to leave this alone. I'm not going to paint it. There is a poll on my page, if you can find it, that basically turns around and says, should I do this as the Old Dutch hopper color, or do I want to go ahead and do it as a regular ACF center flow? By the way, not the Tonopah Tidewaters, but each of these complete models I will be putting up on eBay. I'm still waiting for the name change because I forgot something. But these will be going up on eBay. They'll be cheap and affordable, so if you want to buy one, hey, we're just psycho for TYCo around here. So until then, hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey friends, I know you're at the end of the video and all that, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out that if you're in Carson City or any of the surrounding neighborhoods, come on down to Mills Park, where the Carson City Railroad Association, my model railroad club, happens to be at. We've got both HO scale and N scale. We run modular displays. We also have, during the summer months, a 2-foot tourist railroad that kind of goes around half the park. Membership fee is about $35. If you want to run some trains, come on down. Just let us know. Link in the description, and the link is right here at the bottom. And have a good one. I'm Psycho for TYCo. We'll see you next time.